Hello everyone, ColeManX here. The third armor from Mega Man X3 is my favorite armor in the entire Mega Man X series. While it is outperformed by other armors, there's just something that keeps me coming back to this one. Could it be the design? The abilities? Nostalgia? Just what makes this armor tick for me? Well, I have a ton to say, so let's max ourselves out while we talk about what makes the third armor so great. X's third armor burst onto the scene in 1995's Rockman X3 on the Super Famicom. It is, unsurprisingly, the third iteration of X's armor upgrade. This is the point where the more simple designs of the past were out, and the detailed designs of the future were in. This design is dripping from head to toe attacker with detail, but never looks too busy. The third armor design still revolves around the same core colors as the first and second armors, but now with even more edge. X3 itself adopted an edgier art style, and I'm here for all of it. The third armor is not only detailed, but it's also an absolute powerhouse. But we'll get to that soon enough. Before we get too deep into this, we gotta talk about a certain design inspiration. Gundam, Gundam, look at this thing. While not one-to-one, there are a lot of design cues taken from the Shining Gundam from 1994's Mobile Fighter G Gundam. We can see it the most in the helmet crest, the chest, and the shoulders. Basically everything from here up. They even both have a golden hyper mode, but more on that later. Now, while most would see the Shining Gundam as a clear inspiration, I always saw something a bit different. The Thunder Megazord, baby! Oh yeah! That's what I always saw. It may just be the big green gem in the center of the chest, but hey, can you really blame a kid in the 90s seeing this and saying, "Ooh, Power Rangers"? This was always the Thunder Megazord armor when I was a little Mega Boy. You know, that might explain why that's also my favorite Megazord. Again, it's like poetry. It rhymes. And yes, I know it's actually Daireno from Gosei Sentai Dairanger. Both G Gundam and Dairanger had concluded before X3 came out, so these inspirations are definitely possible and, well, pretty likely. Back to the third armor itself. The helmet is one of the coolest helmets in the series. The gem is gigantic, and the horns are incredible. They just have so much raw 90s cool design energy like the rest of the X3 art. And if we look here, it looks like X took the gold bands from the first armor helmet and dyed them silver. They aren't much to look at on their own, but they add to the whole, making the helmet greater than the sum of its parts. We've already talked about the chest a bit, but there's just so much to discuss with it. The green orb in the center immediately draws in your eye. It's even further accentuated by the red bits surrounding it and the blue spikes pointing toward it. The chest also has these really bold lines breaking up the design. The shoulders are big, but they have to be to hold the big shoulder balls X is sporting this time around. The arms get to show off every main color of the design: white, red, blue, and a bit of yellow covering the elbows. Fun fact, after the events of X3, the arms of the third armor were reused to build Alia's arms. It's true. Don't look it up.
Can you hear me, X?
The legs serve as perfect complements to the arms, especially the yellow parts covering the knees, and the blue stripes along the bottom. X has some pretty cool kicks this time around, sporting a vent toe attacker. One detail about the legs that's often overlooked is the legs have jets on the back. Bafflingly, this feature's usually obscured in official art. Honestly, I never really noticed them until the Kotobukiya kit, but they have been there since the beginning. The only real miss on the design is the underwear. They look just fine, but the piece in the front going up instead of down is kinda questionable. I don't even think X can bend forward unless the underwear bends with him. But that brings us to our favorite segment, Buster Breakdown. Vacuum cleaner. Now that that's out of the way, let's really look at it. In sprite form, this Buster has so much detail that it kinda comes across as a big orange blob. But when we zoom out a bit, we can see a pretty neat design. First off, the shape. Instead of the egg-spected egg shape, it's actually closer to a parallelogram. See? Look at the top of the main barrel and the bottom of the elbow part. And on the topic of barrels, there are 5, count 'em, 5 this time! Well, kinda. On some pieces of older art, the top 2 barrels are actually solid pieces rather than open barrels like we see on the bottom. However, it seems like this design has fallen out of favor with more recent interpretations opening up the barrels. I'm not really sure which I prefer. Probably the open barrels. What about you? Back to the Buster. The gems inside the barrels are green, matching the chest. I just think that's neat. Each side of the Buster also has a vent. Gotta make sure the Buster cools down after the double charge shot. Though that double charge shot is a bit of a mess. While it looks impressive, using a Buster on each arm, it has a long wind-up and tends to miss everything you want to hit. It may be a bit of a bust here, but when it hits hard. However, if you want a different and arguably better flavor to your cross shot, try it out in the Mega Man X3 Zero project by Justin3009. It's quick and super fun to use there. If you're looking for a more official improvement, Rockman X Dive has you covered, making the shot split off and home in on enemies. Very cool. Actually, each armor upgrade is pretty neat this time around. They all get their own capsules like normal, but this time they can go even further beyond using the pink capsule's enhancement chips. Let's go over what everything can do. Again, the Buster gets the cross shot, but the enhancement chip gives X the hypercharge, letting him shoot nothing but fully charged shots as long as it has energy. The body armor gives X 50% damage reduction, as well as a force field that further reduces damage when hit. The body enhancement chip makes the force field more potent, protecting X even further. The legs give X the returning air dash, but also a dash that goes straight up into the air. Though I gotta say, this isn't the face of someone sure about what they're doing. Ah, there we go. This enhancement chip is probably my favorite. It gives X the ability to dash twice. Want to dash jump then air dash? Go for it. Want to up dash twice and make some sick moon dunks? Make it happen. Want to make the first phase of Sigma absolutely free? No problem. Sorry, I got a bit excited there. Anyway, that just leaves us with the helmet. What was once incredibly useful now basically means nothing. When X enters a stage, a map will be displayed showing the stage's layout while pointing out every hidden item. Before being able to easily look this stuff up on the internet, this was a real lifesaver. No, a lifesaver that actually mattered. It would have been nice to be able to pull up this map at any time using the X or select button, but oh well. Just kind of memorizing the stage layout got you where you needed to be, while still encouraging exploration. Or, heck, you could just go all the way and draw out a map yourself. I did that a time or two back in the day. I know it's easy to write off now, but give the helmet a break. It had its moment in history. And it looks cool. Isn't that enough? The helmet's enhancement chip is a really useful one. When X is standing still, he'll start to regain health. This even fills up the sub-tanks. So, yeah, this is the bathroom break chip. The chips were a great concept, but unfortunately, flawed in execution. For whatever reason, X can only support one chip at a time. I get that this encourages replaying the game to try a different chip, but that all goes out the window with the big unlockable of X3, tucked away in Doppler's Fortress. The Hyperchip, also known as the Gold Armor, makes X into an absolute powerhouse. On top of his shiny new armor, this capsule also grants X the abilities of all 4 enhancement chips. Just being this strong should be illegal. X feels unstoppable. Believe it or not, it actually gets better than that, but we'll circle back to that in a bit. The gold armor just looks great in-game, but have you seen this? Or this? What about this? The gold armor has been presented in so many ways, and it's a bit hard to pick a favorite. Sometimes the accents are gold, sometimes they're orange, or even red. Sometimes the soft parts are black instead of gold. Sometimes the gold is silver, and yes, this was marketed as a hyperchip version. While it may be a bit confusing, I think it's pretty fun to have so many interpretations to choose from. And if you can't decide on a favorite, then just combine all your favorite parts into your perfect gold armor. Let that sense and skill of yours do some work and have fun. Kinda makes me wonder what the other armors would look like with the hyperchip. So you'd think that the third armor would follow the first and second armor's Shoto moves. Well, not this time. Instead of the Tatsumaki, X gets something way better. Zero Saber. That's right, Saber. Zero even says so himself. Maybe that mosquito did more damage than we thought. Anyway, the Z Saber is the single strongest upgrade that X gets in the entire series. While a bit convoluted and a bit silly, the process is worth the reward. This thing is strong. Incredibly strong. So strong, in fact, that X launches the blade when he swings it. Then the blade wraps around the enemy, massively damaging them. It's incredible to see. Actually, it's the arm upgrade that allows X to throw the blade. When X swings the saber without the arm upgrade, it's just a standard swing. Not quite as powerful, but still deals 50% max health on bosses. I find it funny that X is technically stronger without the upgrade in this case, since the charge time is shorter. But throwing the blade and having it wrap around is just so cool that it doesn't matter, and the argument's invalid. Rule of cool always wins. When X is done with the saber, he puts it on his back like Zero does. But X isn't shown with a backpack to hold it like Zero is. But X needs the backpack. So now he has one. Again, rule of cool. Update the wiki. He has a backpack now. The third armor wasn't featured on X3's weapon get screen. I can't really imagine why. X shows his armor parts when you use the character swap, so why not here? There were even unused sprites for the armor pieces. I guess they just didn't have time to polish them up. At least we have fan interpretations to imagine how it could have looked. On a similar note, the third armor is the only armor to not be animated in the 32-bit intro. See, we get the first and second armors. Man, third armor really got the short end of things. Unless you consider how it completely dominated the toy world. Toy companies must really love the third armor. Bandai's Mega Armor series released at least 5 versions of the third armor, while Kotobukiya is already up to 3. Not only that, but the third armor was also the first of X's armors that Kotobukiya released, and they even did my favorite weapon color for it. It's a good time to be a fan of the third armor. Or any armors in general. Kotobukiya's been killing it. There were also other toys of the third armor, but the Mega Armor series and Kotobukiya are definitely the most notable. Especially for those of a certain generation, seeing these cool kits on the internet, but their parents just wouldn't let them buy stuff online because it was too risky. Just me, huh? Speaking of personal stories, I have a few when it comes to the third armor. Like with the other X games, I was completely terrible. Pretty much what you'd expect from a young kid. I could never really find any of the capsules, let alone beat most of the levels. So I had to rely on the box art and the instruction booklet to imagine what this cool new armor must be like. And, by the way, the coloring of the armor here is just so good. Look at that silver. Not so sure about the slugs on the Buster. And what's up with Zero? His hair is longer than he is tall. And look at Sorry. I'm getting distracted. Anyway, I remember a time when I really wanted the capsules, but, again, just couldn't find them. So I did what any kid with an active imagination would do. I took some construction paper and made my own armor parts, taped them to my clothes, and had a great time pretending. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do when the game had to go back to the rental store. It's a silly story, sure, but it's just another reason I'm so attached to the design. That kind of stuff just sticks with you. Enough being sappy. Let's get into the final bit of trivia so we can wrap this up. In the August 1995 prototypes of X3, each of the enhancement chips actually changed how X's armor looked. All the white on the armor would change colors depending on the chip that was equipped. The head chip was green, arm was red, body was yellow, leg was blue, and hyper was a striking black instead of gold. As cool of a concept as this is, I gotta admit that some of them look pretty rough. It's believed that this was changed because some palette errors occur when these are equipped. And while that is true, I personally think they were just there for the team debugging the game. It's quite a bit easier to tell what's equipped when you can visually see it, you know? But just because these look kinda weird doesn't mean they look too bad with certain weapons. I'm personally a fan of these. An extra mention goes to the black hyper chip. I've seen it mentioned on more than one occasion that this looks like a rough prototype for the ultimate armor. Yeah, I kinda see it. But if we once again apply our sense and skill, yeah, that's way better. And that covers the third armor. I had a bit to say, but the video isn't that long, right? Wait,
19
minutes? Oh geez. Thanks for sticking it out to the end. Do you love the third armor as much as I do? Should I include more personal stories in these? Let me know. See you next time. Hey, thanks for watching. Extra special thanks to Sprinkling for the art, Lonely Peter for the live and learn cover, Kiang for the 3D model posing, SilBee for the art recolors and script cleanup, and Darupi for the dive model recolors. And a big thanks to our channel members: Kiang3, Asterisk, SilBee, John Williams, Darupi, Spring Queen, Masterman, Fusion Catalyst, AI Metalloid X, Uwatcher, Thy Gameplaya, Aeon 3 Valifor, Super Saiyan Apache, 17 Master, Coalfish, Hunter 87, Wizlord 64, Shadow 1111111, Seldom Sweet, Thunder Warrior ZX, Kyle Loney, and the rest of our supporters. Feels good to have covered my favorite armor. I hope I did it justice. I hope you all enjoyed, and see you next time.